The Colorado Avalanche just sent a serious message to the NHL as they took on the Dallas Stars earlier today in a Central Division clash and beat the Stars in what was arguably one of their most important games in this year's regular season. Not only is it a very tight top three Central Division race right now with Winnipeg in the number one spot, and the Dallas Stars and the Colorado Avalanche now a mere 2 points away from one another as we start to get closer to the end of the regular season. But it was also the first time Mikko Rantanen returned to Ball Arena not as a Colorado Avalanche player after the trade debacle earlier this season, which initially sent him to the Carolina Hurricanes. And then it followed of him not only being traded to the Dallas Stars, but also signing a massive 8-year deal, $12 million a year. And for the first time, a lot of emotions involved as Mikko Rantanen returned to Colorado to play against his former team in which he won a Stanley Cup with. A lot to unpack in this game, as well as what's to come now in the rest of the regular season. But before we do that, I want to make sure that all of you guys are subscribed to Avalanche Digest. Take a look at this here. The viewership for people that are not subscribed versus subscribed, an insane difference. 77% of you that are tuning into Avalanche Digest for all the latest in Colorado Avalanche news are not subscribed to the channel. Only a mere 23% of you subscribed and getting your daily Avalanche news from Avalanche Digest. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button and make sure you're tuned in to get all the latest in Avalanche news and updates right here on Avalanche Digest. Let's dive in to all the latest news in this Central Division clash where the Avalanche took down the Dallas Stars 4-3 in overtime in a huge Central Division matchup. Let's first take a look at this quote from Mikko Rantanen. A lot of emotion, obviously, for Rantanen coming back into Colorado and playing against his former team in which he was drafted 10th overall and went on to play over 600 games with the Avs, as well as win a 2022 Stanley Cup with that amazing Stanley Cup squad who took down the Lightning in 6 games just a few years back. Mikko Rantanen, in some press conferences early on before the game, he said that he told them, Colorado, that he was only focused on Colorado. He wanted to stay in Colorado. They still did the trade, and that was their decision. There's obviously been a lot of talk around whether or not it was Mikko Rantanen's fault for leaving the Colorado Avalanche and initiating such a massive trade and a huge debacle within the NHL that sent him first to Carolina and then to Dallas. And so he obviously wanted to make it pretty clear that it wasn't necessarily his decision. Obviously, NHL Network making sure we're excited and tuned in about the game earlier today. Mikko Rantanen making his return to Denver, where the Dallas Stars visited the Colorado Avalanche earlier today. And the biggest question being asked was, how will Rantanen, who played over 600 games with this Colorado Avalanche team, be received by the crowd? The biggest question was, are people going to cheer for him? And are they wishing him the best playing for arguably the Avalanche's biggest rival in the league? Or is there a lot of bad blood? Do a lot of people have a sour taste in their mouth around this Mikko Rantanen trade and whether or not it was a strong decision for the Colorado Avalanche to trade him, and whether or not Rantanen was being honest in that he wanted to make a deal with Colorado and it was his priority to stay an Av for as long as he possibly could. Another quote from Rantanen: "It wasn't like I asked to leave. Hopefully it's positive." It being positive, meaning the reaction from Ball Arena and all those home Colorado Avalanche fans for their welcoming him back into the arena for the first time since he left the Avs back in January to go to Carolina. Now, when they did welcome him back, I think it was received a lot better than a lot of people thought. They made a nice tribute video for him and welcomed him back with open arms. But still, a lot of Avalanche fans left with a sour taste in their mouth as a result of what happened with the Mikko Rantanen debacle. Another tweet quote here: "If Mikko Rantanen wanted to be a Colorado Avalanche player right now, he would be a Colorado Avalanche player. There's no way he's convincing anyone that he, his agent, and the Avs front office could not get to 8 by 12 million or something along the lines of that deal. That is, in fact, what he signed for in Dallas, considering the reports that the Avs offered him an 8 by 11.75 million deal. So obviously a lot of speculation, a lot of different opinions floating around the league and on social media as to whether or not this was the Avs front office's fault per se, or if it was Mikko Rantanen and his agent playing the game of where can he get the most money, where can he make the most successful contract sort of situation. And of course, there's a lot of different working opinions. Nonetheless, he comes back, gets a slightly decent, warm welcome by the Colorado Avalanche fan base, and people, for the most part, are excited to see him back in Ball Arena. Now, another notable aspect of Mikko Rantanen's return was he got on the score sheet in the first 4 minutes of the game. He had the secondary assist on a Jason Robertson goal where the Stars went up 1-0. And of course, the first goal that the Dallas Stars scored against the Colorado Avalanche today, it was a secondary assist by the former Colorado Avalanche player, Mikko Rantanen. Now, the Avs did go on to take a 3-1 lead over the Dallas Stars. They were absolutely buzzing. Jonathan Drouin and Valeri Nichushkin with 2 of those 3 goals. Just an absolutely amazing performance as far as dominance goes. The Avs were all over the Stars today. 36 shots to the Dallas Stars, 22. 28 hits to their 26. And that one area where the Stars thrived today, if you look at those penalty minutes, 10 penalty minutes for Dallas and only 1 power play 2 for the Colorado Avalanche. Now, the Avs were only able to get 1 power play goal off of those 10 penalty minutes. So, unfortunately, not able to generate a lot of power play offense. But regardless, the Avs were able to get a really strong edge. More specifically, the shots. 36 shots versus 22 shots for the Avs versus the Stars in Ball Arena for the Central Division clash today. Just definitely an interesting performance and an interesting comparison to look at. And I don't know if you noticed a second ago, I talked about 2 of the 3 goal scorers. It was Valeri Nichushkin and Jonathan Drouin who had those first 3 goals for the Avs when they went up 3-1. Now, the first goal of the game that was scored for the Avs was by, guess who? Marty Necas. Marty Necas was a part of the package deal who came to Colorado in exchange for Mikko Rantanen when we initially sent him to Carolina. Necas has 67 games, 22 goals, 50 assists, 72 points this season, 163 shots. 8 of those 163 shots were all today against the Dallas Stars. And it is clear, you can see how much dominance that he has and how well he's fitting in with this lineup. He continues to be a huge piece of the depth that this Colorado Avalanche team has. And a lot of Avalanche critics, Avalanche fans, and even our front office are saying that they like the way that Marty Necas meshes with Colorado and with that top line more than how Mikko Rantanen did. And there's obviously a lot to unpack there too. There's a little bit of a comparison aspect as far as the Avs comparing Rantanen versus Necas. 19 games and 17 games since the trade. Necas has 7 goals, 11 assists, and 18 points, a +4 rating, as well as Rantanen on the other end, 17 games. So Necas has 2 games on Rantanen, but 4 goals, 6 assists, 10 points, a -3 rating. And then obviously there's a lot of talk and speculation around whether or not Mikko Rantanen was mailing it in with Carolina because it wasn't where he wanted to land long term. But either way, clearly Necas is fitting in very well and able to be a part of the insane amount of depth that this Colorado Avalanche team has ever since the initial trade and moving into the remainder of the season, where the Central Division remains very tight and we're not sure what the rest of the year is going to look like. Now, one other topic that needs to definitely have some light shed on it is how crucial Valeri Nichushkin is in that lineup. The Colorado Avalanche are 12-0-1 in their last 13 games with Nichushkin in the lineup. How about that insane stat? Val obviously is a huge piece for this Colorado Avalanche team. He adds so much depth to that second line. He is just such a big player who generates so much offense, and boy, is it good to have him in the lineup. Something that Biz said a few weeks ago, I think I mentioned this in an earlier video, getting Val back right around the deadline is almost like making a big deadline trade in its own. You get a huge, massive depth player back like that who can generate so much offense and do so well. just absolutely crucial, and it's going to play a huge piece in the success of this Colorado Avalanche team as we continue to move later down the road. Now, last thing we want to touch on here is how good the Avs have looked down the stretch of their last 10 games. Here's a look at their previous 10 games, including today's 4-3 overtime win over the Dallas Stars. They're 8-1-1. They had a loss against St. Louis 10 games ago, and then they went on to have a 6-game homestand win streak where they beat New Jersey, the Minnesota Wild, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the San Jose Sharks, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Chicago Blackhawks, all back-to-back-to-back wins, 6 in a row on home ice in Ball Arena. They had a shootout loss to Minnesota, and then they go on to have a very strong win away against Calgary, and of course today's game against Dallas where they barely got away with a win. Obviously late in the third period, the Stars turned it on. They scored 2 goals to tie it 3-3 with barely any time left in the third period, but the Avs able to hold on, and Cale Makar gets a clutch overtime goal to give the Avs the well-needed 2 points against the Stars. Now the Avs now still in third in the Central Division, the Stars in second, a 2-point difference between these two teams. It would have been a 1-point difference if it was a regulation win today, but we'll take what we can get. 2 points is better than nothing. A huge win for the Colorado Avalanche today, and with the momentum that they have and the depth that they have in their roster right now, the remainder of the season and the clinching playoff scenarios where they'll most likely see Dallas in potentially the first round, maybe the second, is all going to unfold in a very interesting manner as we start to move toward the rest of the NHL season.